3 months, the first 90 days. If I was going to come to you and I called you next week and said, hey, Glenn, I'm starting a company, I'm doing X, Y, Z, and you're like, oh, that's actually a pretty good idea. That's great. What would you tell me in that first 90 days? Here's the things to focus on so you can be successful. Let's assume that the product works.
Yeah, well, I think I would focus on, is it really solving a worthwhile problem? That's what I talked about earlier, and it's just the most important question, because if it's solving a worthwhile problem, you'll be able to recruit people easily. Everyone wants to solve a really important problem, something that vexes society, something that you can believe in, not just for 6 months or a year, but over a decade. And then you'll be able to generate demand for it. And I think the way I felt about starting a company, or the way I felt about myself really, was that I wasn't a salesman. I think my biography on Redfin site still says that at Plumtree I held every position except sales. But really, people who are finicky about that, who don't have this lust to go out and make it rain, should not be starting companies, because everyone else is counting on you to know what customers want, to identify a problem that the team can work on that will result in sales. And I think there's just a moral component to a company's mission, and then there's a commercial component, and really they're well aligned, that if a problem is worthwhile, you're solving a real problem that human beings have, which has a moral value, and then they honor that by paying you. And I just know from experience, because Plumtree, this company that I started, built a product that nobody wanted. We focused on what was feasible instead of desirable, and then we couldn't get anyone to buy it, and it created this existential doubt that just stymied every action to the keystroke level. Just as you were writing a single line of code, you're just thinking, why am I doing this? Like, why bother even leaving a comment? There's never going to be a version 2.
Don't document it.
And then we just came back to something that didn't seem feasible, but that we knew everybody wanted, and decided that we'd have to find a way to build that. And that's when our happiness began. Even though it was hard, we knew we could put our shoulder to the wheel because it was worthwhile. And I think most of the time you're just haunted by this anxiety that it isn't worthwhile, that it doesn't really matter. And so I keep coming back to the problem. Is it a real problem? If it's a real problem, even if this solution is wrong, we'll try another one, and another one, and another one.